Welcome back to YourTown. My name is Steve Ellzey. I'm the host and CEO of Your Sanctuary Productions. Here is another fantastic guest for you, and really for me too. His name is Michel. He is the superintendent of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, which is the largest national marine sanctuary in the continental United States. At this time, I think it's over 6,000 miles, but we're going to find out exactly because Paul's right here.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Paul. We've done this before.
We have. I'm usually in your spot.
Tell our audience about what's going on with the sanctuary. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and I love that.
Well, it actually got bigger in 2008 with the addition of the Davidson Seamount.
Okay.
So that's an offshore area. It's an underwater mountain, basically, that rises off the seafloor from about 8,000 feet deep to within 4,000 feet of the surface. It's this giant mountain. It's like the size of Mount Shasta. And at the top of this seamount are giant corals and sponges as big as you and I. They're like the old growth forest of the ocean. It's spectacular. And in that cold, dark water, you would expect to see such vibrant, corals of all kinds of colors and shapes. But it's like in a tropical reef, but it's in the dark, cold ocean. So this area is 775 square miles that was added to the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary back in 2008. So that's been the biggest expansion.
Okay. And then now, what was this about? And I could be wrong here, but I thought there was something about extending it all the way to San Francisco or Point Arena.
Well, the Farallones National Marine Sanctuary, the Greater Farallones, they expanded 2 years ago up to Point Arena in Mendocino County. So that was expansion for them as well as Cordell Bank.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that's not part of our sanctuary, but our sister sanctuaries to the north.
And does the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary abut against the Farallones?
We have these three contiguous marine sanctuaries with Monterey, Farallones, and Cordell Bank.
And do you mind if I ask you this too? And then in Southern California, we have some sanctuaries also?
Yes, we have Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary, which is just the area, the waters around the Channel Islands themselves, offshore of Santa Barbara. And then, of course, we've got Olympic Coast National Marine Sanctuary up in Washington Peninsula. So spectacular areas.
And what I love too is from almost from the channels, but let's say from down in Cambria all the way up to at the end of Cordell Bank, then it's sanctuary all the way up
all
down
the way
the
to
coast.
Point Arena, basically from Cambria to Point Arena, it's National Marine Sanctuaries. But for what we call the Donut Hole, which is an area offshore of San Francisco County that's not part of any National Marine Sanctuary.
Oh, okay. And Paul, I was looking at the maps. And by the way, could you tell everyone your website, your URL? Because
yes, it's montereybay.noaa.gov.
montereybay.noaa.gov.
Yeah, that's NOAA.
And we will make sure that we tell folks about that time and again, because there is so many resources on there. It completely blows my mind.
Yeah.
The pictures and everything else is so beautiful, and you can find out information about all of the sanctuaries. But what I really enjoy too is being able to see the studies and all the ongoing studies that you folks are doing. Right. And there's so much going on. I wanted to ask you about something too, because I love birds.
Yeah.
And I had no idea there are so many birds that travel here from Hawaii or Australia.
Yes.
We
have some of the greatest ocean travelers on the planet that come here. My favorite is the Sooty Shearwater, which flies all the way from the coast of South America all the way across to New Zealand and to Monterey Bay on this annual migration. They are the frequent flyer bird of the planet. And then you have the albatross, too, which flies across the Pacific from Japan to Monterey. And they'll do that journey several times a year. And they'll dip down to the Hawaiian Islands. So you've got these long-distance voyagers. And they come here because this is the blue buffet. This is the place where they can rely on things to eat. So it's so rich here. And they count on Monterey Bay and the coast of California for regenerating their energy supplies. And you've got these species like the leatherback sea turtle that comes all the way from Indonesia to come here to feast on jellyfish. So This is what I call the blue buffet. It provides.
I love that, the Big Blue Buffet.
Yes, yes.
And that was really terrific to see all the coverage the Sanctuary received from PBS and BBC during
great.
Big Blue. Oh my gosh, I get
Yes.
tingles just
Well,
thinking
we've
about
never
that.
had an international spotlight on us like that, like the BBC provided in that documentary. And we worked with them for a long time to come up with the show and to do a lot of filming prior, and then to be able to go live and find the animals that they were looking for was amazing.
And it was called Big Blue. I always thought that referred to the ocean. Was that, they talk about the whale, the big blue whale?
Well, that was the signature thing they wanted to try to do, was to find the blue whale.
Okay.
And that was
All
what
right.
led up, and luckily it happened, you know. And I tried to tell them, I said, there's no guarantees that we go out on the ocean. You go out to look for whales and you find birds. You go out to look for birds, you find whales. You never know.
Right.
And I'm not the whale whisperer. I couldn't make it happen. So.
The whale is, I love it. Oh, that's great. And so you saw, they actually were able to capture footage of a blue whale,
Right.
the largest mammal in
Ever.
existence on the earth. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That is so wonderful.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Yeah,
You know,
thank you.
I was standing off to the sidelines in awe,
Yes.
but I did my best to give you some Facebook pushes.
Yes.
Now there's so many fascinating things going on in the sanctuary.
All the
I know that website. What is that website again?
MontereyBay.noaa.gov.
All right. So you heard that. Please go there. So many things going on. You can find out about them on the website, but share some things, please.
Yeah, well, there's so much going on. It's like where to start.
The
But
stars.
well, one of the things that we're really busy with right now, and it doesn't sound that exciting, it's management plan review. So this is our management plan, which sort of guides what we're going to do for the next 5 to 10 years. So it's a very public process to get input on what we should be doing and get feedback from the public. But a couple of really interesting issues have spun out of that. One is sound in the ocean, you know, and what does the ocean sound like? Right, and are there man-made sounds in the ocean that we should be concerned about? So spinning out of this is a renewed effort to listen to the ocean. And so with hydrophones and other listening devices put in the ocean, we're going to basically create a soundscape, so a characterization of what it sounds like in the deep ocean. And already you can go to Embari's website and listen to the ocean 24/7. They have a hydrophone down on their Mars cable that's listening all the time. So it's kind of interesting. You can go online and just listen to all the clicks and calls, and you can hear engines from shipping, you know, container ships, and you can even hear occasionally a seal bomb go off. You know, these are the fishermen that are throwing M80s at the sea lions to keep them out of their squid catch. And, but so you're getting this, you know, amazing, you know, symphony of sounds in the ocean. And so that's where we want to start with is what's the ocean sound like? And we're also going to be doing an exhibit at our Exploration Center in Santa Cruz, so people can come in and listen to different sounds. They can push different buttons and hear different whale calls, or they can listen to what a container ship sounds like in the ocean, things like that. So,
yeah, and please share about the Exploration Center.
Well, you've been there. It's pretty phenomenal. It was built in 2012, or we opened in 2012. It's a 12,000 square foot, beautiful, state-of-the-art, you know, visitor center with amazing exhibits and interactive displays and kiosks, and a phenomenal film made by Bob Talbot. A gift store, and we do amazing programs there with school kids and special tours, and it's really neat. Yeah.
Now, I saw something about sea stars. What's new at the sanctuary? See a star? Are you in on that, or do you know what that's all about? I was just wondering.
Well, I think you're referring to some changes that we've been seeing in the ocean and the nearshore with the kelp forest, right? And it kind of started back in 2013 with what we were observing as a sea star wasting disease. So all of a sudden, it was noticed on the entire West Coast with sea stars were basically melting away. So they were dying off in rapid numbers. And sea stars are a predator for things like purple urchins, right? They go after purple urchins.
Okay.
And so without a predator, purple urchins just went on a feeding rampage. And so due to other sort of perfect storm kind of situation with really warm Pacific Ocean waters, the purple urchins just exploded, and they love to eat kelp.
Oh, no.
They live to eat kelp,
Oh,
and,
no.
and they're like goats of the sea.
Oh, boy.
They just travel in herds, and they grow really fast and quickly, and so they've just taken over. So especially, from the Central Coast all the way to the Oregon border, we've seen close to 90% loss of kelp forest in the last 2 years. It's really bad on the North Coast of from San Francisco north, because they just have one main species of kelp. And so you could go there and snorkel and dive and see nothing on the seafloor but purple urchins everywhere.
Wow.
And the kelp is gone. And so it kind of started in 2013 with the sea star wasting disease,
Sure.
which led to the purple urchin explosion. They've been munching on kelp, and now we're seeing massive loss of kelp forest. Now here in Monterey Bay, we're a little bit better off in a Big Sur coast, just because we have more than one species dominant of kelp. So we have lots of kelp species, and we have more of a cold water influence from the deep canyons that are so close to shore.
Okay.
So, but we're still seeing a lot of what we call urchin barrens, which is just nothing but purple sea urchins that you see here.
And there's really nothing that can be done, right?
Well, there's a lot of effort to see what can be done. So there's some pilot science studies to go out and see if you can remove purple urchins in an area and see how fast the kelp might come back. But we're talking huge amounts of areas. You'd have to go out and smash a lot of purple urchins.
Okay.
So the science community is determining, is this a natural, occurrence that will bounce back towards kelp-dominated, or is this something that we really need to do a more proactive sort of management intervention?
And pivotal in that is what is wrong with the sea stars.
Yeah,
right?
Well, we're starting to see them come back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there's a lot of juvenile sea stars, and the worry is, we haven't seen any big adult sea stars, especially like the sun stars, which were so dominant here. They're so beautiful, right? Yes. So we're hoping that over time they'll come back. Yeah.
And speaking of pilot programs, we had a conversation about black abalone. There was a mudslide.
Yeah.
Could you tell the viewers about that? Because it's wonderful.
Well, black abalone they're smaller than the red abalone, which people snorkel and dive for up on the North Coast. And black abalone were overfished back 50 years ago or more, and so they're an endangered species. And really, the only place that they are left that they thrive is on the Big Sur coast.
Oh.
And so back in 2016, we had a major rainfall event and a major landslide at a place called Mud Creek, of all things. And there was one massive landslide that created 15 new acres of land in the sanctuary in one big, landslide. And unfortunately, that landslide covered a lot of black abalone. Oh, no. Yeah, so immediately buried and killed those. But as the ocean kept eating away at this new formed peninsula and creating all this turbidity of just muddy water that spread north and south up along the coast, it was covering black abalone and endangering them and killing them.
Okay.
So we, along with the state of California and other scientists, along with the National Marine Fisheries Service, mounted a rescue effort.
Great.
Yeah, to go down there and see if we could first assess just the damage that was done to the black abalone and intertidal, but can we grab these guys and save them and maybe outplant them somewhere else and see if they'll thrive somewhere else? And so that's what we did, and it's going to be an ongoing program to go down there and grab as many of the black abalone that are in danger and transplant them somewhere else where they can survive and thrive.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was really exciting.
Now, you say transplant them, so you're moving them to other ocean locations.
Yes, yes.
Sounds very novel. Is that the first time?
It's the first time it's ever been done, to my knowledge, and it's tricky business because when you remove a black abalone from its hold, you can damage them. And and you can actually kill them in the process.
Sure.
And so you've got to be very careful about how you get them off the rock and then transport them very carefully and outplant them. So, but we've had a lot of success so far.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, when you come back, because you are going to come back, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we want to hear how the abalone are doing.
Yeah.
We have got to mention something that is so important to the sanctuary as far as finding out what's going on underwater.
Yeah.
And that's Simon. Can you tell the audience about what Simon is, and if we have time, maybe one of the studies or something?
Sure. Well, Simon is a separate website from our main website, but you can get to it from
Right.
our website.
Oh,
And,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
So if you click on research and monitoring, you'll get to Simon. And Simon is
Oh.
a sanctuary integrated monitoring network. And we set this up 15 years ago or so because we just needed a place to dedicate to all the amazing science and research that's going on here on the central coast of California. And we have 25 different marine science institutions that are doing work here. And so it's just an amazing amount of information. So really what we're trying to do on this website is provide one place where you can go and see what a lot of our partner science is doing in the sanctuary.
Okay.
So you can find out about studies, you can find about the results of these studies, you can learn about a lot of the natural history of the habitats and all the organisms that call this place home and those that visit here. But one of the most popular parts of the website is the photo database.
Sure.
And these are amazing photos that have been collected over the years, and they're free for the download, right? And so the thousands and thousands of pictures of seabirds and marine mammals and fishes and algae and whatever you like, you can find in our Simon photo database.
And it's gorgeous. And
Yeah.
and forgive me for plugging this,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you have two terrific people who give their time and their art. Steve Lonhart
Yeah.
and Chad King.
Yes.
And way to go, guys. Just want to give you a shout out there
Yeah.
because your photos are beautiful, and thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
And what is that website again?
It's simon.org.
No, but your website.
Oh,
the Monterey Bay.
MontereyBay.noaa.gov.
MontereyBay.noaa.gov, and I keep repeating it because you will be amazed if you check this out, folks. Tell us about the Beachcomber program, and we've got just a little time left.
Yeah.
But are you up on that?
Sure.
You
Yeah.
use so many volunteers. There's so many great people
Yeah.
here,
Yeah,
and
I know.
you take. It's wonderful how you're able to utilize that resource.
Yeah. Well, Beachcombers is one of many citizen science programs that we have where we get the public involved as volunteers to do things like collect water quality samples for us to see how the water quality is doing, to assess the beaches, to interact with the public and tell them about the marine sanctuary and why it's important to protect it. Beachcombers is a fun one because it actually involves volunteers that have a stretch of beach that is theirs to walk once a month and to collect data on the dead animals that they find on the beach and catalog those and document them over time, such that it gives us a baseline of what we call beach cast, those organisms that wind up washing up on shore. They could be seabirds, they could be sea lions, they could be sea otters. And actually there was a time maybe 10 years ago or so where we saw an inordinate number of cormorants that had been washed up and were dead. And we're like, what is going on? And it was actually a result of the gill net fishery was capturing, as incidental catch all these seabirds. And so as a result, the drift gill net was closed down in Monterey Bay because of the impact to seabirds. But we wouldn't have known that had we not had the Beachcomber program.
Beachcombers, great program.
Yeah.
And Paul, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
Because I know you and I have discussed doing something like this, and you went out and you did it.
Yeah.
You started a foundation.
That's right.
Oh, please tell us about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, for years I've been wanting to do more fundraising and advocacy for our many programs that we started years ago, but have due to budget constraints we just haven't been able to keep going. And so looking at last year was our 25th anniversary of the Marine Sanctuary. I wanted to do something big and to celebrate the 25-year anniversary, but also find it as a time that we could launch a foundation to do fundraising and advocacy work on behalf of the sanctuary. And so we've got just stellar people in our community, leaders like Leon Panetta and Sam Farr and Fred Keeley and Ted Balistreri and Hillary Bryant. Dan Hafley. These are your A team that you would want on any board. But their love of the sanctuary and their connection to the sanctuary inspired them to step forward to be our board. And we're doing a lot of fundraising. We got a phenomenal challenge grant from the Monterey Peninsula Foundation, a $100,000 challenge grant.
Wonderful.
That we've got about 30 days left to try to reach the goal of raising $100,000 to reach that. But it's exciting. For the first time in the 25-year history of the sanctuary, we've got a chapter of the National Foundation that's here locally, that's raising money locally, that will stay locally to do great things for the sanctuary. So I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
We're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for coming by.
Absolutely.
All right,
My pleasure.
and you promised
I'll be back.
on air. You promised to come back
I'll
next
be
time.
back.
Okay, and thank you so much for watching. This is Your Town. My name is Steve Ellzey.